Are you looking to grow revenues, increase profitability, or obtain financing? If so, you came to the right place.
Running a business is all about leadership. How do you become a better leader? Learn from the successful entrepreneurs and business owners how to lead your organization more effectively. That's why we created Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business, to help you succeed with your host, Andrew Frazier, Business Growth Pro and CFO and founder of the Small Business Pro University. Every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, we're joined by experienced entrepreneurs and business owners who share their secrets to success via live stream. Also, every Friday morning, we release a new podcast episode. Either way, you will learn about developing your business leadership skills from our roster of highly performing guest experts. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbprou.com.
All right, good evening. Welcome back to Leadership Live at 8:05. I'm your host, Andrew Frazier, and excited to be hanging out with you once again on Tuesday evening. As everybody knows, your business can only go as far as you're prepared to lead it. And that's why we created Leadership Live at 8:05 to really help you learn from business thought leaders, business experts, people who understand small business and what it takes to succeed. So very excited to have our guest this evening. We're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, and because at the end of the day, your most important job is a business owner is sales and marketing. So that's why it's important to have shows about how to sell and market more effectively. And, that's one of the things we're going to be talking about tonight. I think coming at it from a little bit of a different perspective, because there's so many facets to sales and marketing, and you can learn different things from different people. So tonight's topic is how to sell more by answering questions before they're asked. A lot of people think of sales as something that's icky or something that, that they really aren't comfortable with. But when you break it down, it's really about solving someone's problem. And you can't know what their problem is unless you talk to them. It's very important. Questions and understanding questions and understanding your client is very important. So that's one of the things, that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. So excited to really have a chance to really dig into this with my guest. Guest tonight is Martha Krejci, and I think I messed it up, so I'll let her pronounce me again.
We're all right. We're all right.
Not too bad.
It was not bad. It was not bad. It's Martha Krejci. It just had to have a little more stank on the ch part.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Well, welcome. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me tonight, Martha.
Yeah. Hey, thank you. I have been so excited for this all day long, really, just coming on to be able to chat it up with you. I respect what you've done here with your show. You've done a lot of really good stuff. And I love that people tune in at 8:05. It's so cool, right? I love that people tune in and they actually get to have takeaways, right? And be able to change their business just the next moment, right after listening to this. So it's just good, actionable stuff that you have.
Definitely. And definitely because of great guests like you, time goes really fast. I mean, we're celebrating 5 years of the show on a weekly basis in September. So we've got over 200 guests over the years, and it's been great meeting a lot of wonderful people, and got some surprises planned for the 5-year anniversary. So really, really excited about that coming up as well.
That's so cool.
Excellent. So we're going to talk about selling more by answering questions before they're asked. But before we do that, we know each other on a certain level, but the audience doesn't know you at all. So
Right.
what we want to do is, if you can take a few minutes, talk a little about your journey, sort of how you got to where you are. I think that'll give great perspective. That'll be helpful as we go into the discussion.
Yeah, I think that's great. So, Martha Krejci, that is how you pronounce all of those consonants really close together. Uh, I started actually way back when. I won't start when I was a baby, okay? But I started way back when I was in restaurants for 14 years. And I'm just gonna say, like, before I move into like what actually has brought me where I am now, I honestly think um, people that come from the hospitality space, like if you ever worked in restaurants before, you already know it's like boot camp for entrepreneurs, because we learn to anticipate needs so well that we end up being just primo entrepreneurs whenever if we decide to take that leap. So if you're listening right now and you're thinking, do I even want to take the leap? I'm in this space, I'm scared, it doesn't make sense for me. I didn't have any previous training. I went to, this is the embarrassing part, I went to college for one semester. I saw the letters behind your name and, I was humbled. I went to college for one semester, and that's how I knew I didn't want to go to college. Okay. So then I was in restaurants, like I said, for 14 years. And then, one day I was just like, well, shoot, I can't do this forever. And you realize quickly, like, your body's going to give way on you. Like, you don't want to, if you don't have, it's not a great setup for life. And so I was like, okay, well, I want to do something else. I started working at GoDaddy. I started on the phones in entry level, right? And I worked my way up to leadership. I was in leadership for 5 years. And then when I was going to be a lifer, it was going to be, the place I was at forever and ever. Amen. I was doing really well. I was doing so well, I had brought my husband home from work. And we had bought a really expensive house, and we had had a baby, and his parents ended up moving in with us because his dad lost his job, and in your 70s you don't go look for another job anyway. Everybody's living in our house, but we're supporting, or basically my paycheck was supporting 2 families, right? But I was there in leadership, 5 years in, sitting in my carpeted cubicle that smelled like the 60s. I think we all familiar with that space. I had my little quotes pinned up on the wall, on the carpet wall. And I got a video. And the video was of my daughter taking her very first steps. And I don't know how many moms and dads are watching right now. I imagine plenty. That leveled me. And it's not there, no shade on people that, work outside of the home. It's everybody's got their own thing, right? But for me, it leveled me. And in that moment, I felt like a caged animal. I went into a full-on panic attack. I just knew, you hit these different things in your life and you circle around the bend, right? It's kind of like the spiral that goes up. It's the staircase that goes up. And you keep hitting these same things over and over again. You keep hitting these same sort of like forks to determine where you're going to go. And I just remember thinking, like, not right or wrong, right? But I just remember thinking, like, is this okay? Am I okay with missing this? Because as I saw her on the video, she's like taking these big, clumpy, sort of like pigeon-toed steps. She did this Disney princess thing in the middle where she took she did that. And I'm like, oh, you're killing me, kid. I couldn't leave because I didn't have any sick time. Because as a mom of a baby, you never have sick time, because the moment you have that 1.4 hours drop or whatever it is, you have to use it on an appointment or something like that, right? And so it was just, I couldn't even leave, So this major milestone moment had happened with my baby. My husband's home with her taking the video. And I am stuck at work. And mind you, I loved that job, but it was one of these, right? And so I decided I was going to quit my job that day. So remember what my life was on paper. My in-laws live with me. I carry the insurance on my family. I'm the main breadwinner for 2 families. Nora, my baby, just started walking, so I have a baby with the, me holding the insurance. All of these things, we just bought a really expensive house. All of this stuff was my reality. And I was looking it dead in the eye and saying, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to have to make something work because I'm not going to miss these moments. I'm just not going to. Just not okay with me, right? And so then I went home. I thought my husband is the guy. This part of the story is almost over, but my husband is very much sort of like the guy that holds the string to my balloon. Like that's how I describe him. Like I'm the visionary, and he's the one that's like, yeah, but okay, we've got bills, we've got this. Very like he's the one that anchors me and keeps me, cool, which is awesome. And I love how there's both of us in the world, like that there's all couples are like this and we all gravitate to each other. We're typically complete opposites. But because I knew he was probably going to like throw up on the floor or freak out or, hyperventilate if I told him I was going to quit my job, on the way home, I did what I think any married person does. And you go through the conditional logic of what the conversation might be, right? Okay, if he says this, I'm going to say this. If he says this, I'm going to say this. If he says this, I'm going to say this. And I had it all prepped and ready. Like I was ready. I was going in. I was ready, right? And so I get home. I go in the door, put down my purse and my keys, stand next to him at the counter, and I say, okay, I can't do this. I am going to quit my job. I'm going to start an agency. Who starts an agency is the first thing that they ever do. First of all, who did I think I was? But I was like, I'm going to start an agency. I'm naturally really good at SEO. Like I just have a weird understanding of what people search for, messaging, stuff like that. I have a weird understanding of how to appease the search engines and now, excuse me, the LLMs and stuff like that. And so I was like, I'll start an SEO agency. And he looked at me and he said, I thought he was totally going to freak out. He should have freaked out. He looked at me and he said, Martha, if you don't do this, you're not only doing yourself, but everybody around you a disservice. And I was like, whoa. Well, now I have to do it because that doesn't sound like my husband. Like, it's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. You're like, where's my husband? Who's this? But he had that amount of belief in me. And that belief spurred us on for a very long time. And so I started an agency. Now we'll get to where it goes hyperspeed, because that was February 2016. Started the agency. Within the very first month, I had enough clients where I was making the same amount of money that I made at GoDaddy. So within the first month, so I didn't skip a beat. So the bills were good. Everything was good from the very first month, which is just so nice. It was so nice. I kept that agency going for a while, about a year and a half, 2 years into it. I remember we took a vacation and I remember we went to Disney World, which now we live down the street from, which is fun. But we went to Disney World. And I remember just constantly getting emails from clients and stuff. And I remember thinking, because I was doing really well for them, but it was just, just regular client emails, like asking questions. But clients typically are like, when they email you, they want it done yesterday. And so that amount of urgency when I'm at like when I'm on vacation was like rough on me. And so I was like, this feels like another job right now. And that sort of spurred me into the idea of, well, if I'm doing all of this good stuff, like really getting people seen and building their businesses, I got people's websites so high on the search engines that like celebrities like Matt Damon were starting to hire them to do things. Like it was just like, it was wild. And I was like, shoot, what about what I want to give to the world, right? Besides the behind the scenes-ness of it all, what about me? What about the message I have for the world, right? What do I want to do? And that's where I actually started venturing into personal brand and being able to serve from that perspective and that aspect. And it was still business related. It was still teaching marketing, teaching sales, teaching messaging, like the stuff that I do, that I have kind of a unique way of doing it. And we, within a year, we were making, within 6 months, we were making 6 figures a month. Within 6 months of doing what I'm doing, what the personal brand thing. Within 6 months, I was making 6 figures a month. And then within 6 months after that, we were making 7 figures a month. And that's the insane part that has just totally taken off. And it allows me a sandbox to play with different new tactics and new strategies, because I don't have this like stressy feeling where like I can't play, right? I'm in sort of like this carefree zone of, let me play with this messaging, let me play with this strategy over here, and then I get to find out new things that are working right now, and then I get to share them with my students or share them with my clients that I still do, that we still have the agency, so I still do work for, and that sort of thing. So that's kind of where we're at right now. We're doing really well. We have many different brands of our own, but then also brands that we take care of for other people. But just in the whole, I was kind of a long-winded way to say, you can trust me. I know what I'm talking about because I'm literally in the trenches doing it every day and having fun doing it. So is that what you were looking for?
Okay, no, I mean, definitely. Your journey was great. I mean, everybody's journey is different.
Yeah.
And it's amazing what you learn from the journey. But, unsuspectingly, you really went in a great direction early on, because, everything's about people and relationships.
Yep.
And you learn that in the hospitality industry. You may not want to stay in the hospitality industry for your whole career because, it can be a little tough, but you do learn a lot of valuable skills and expertise. And then, you had good timing at GoDaddy because that was when, you were there when technology, you were seeing everything happen. And then you were able to sort of take it and move forward. So you almost had like a fairy tale journey because a lot of times, you come out in business and you're struggling for a long time sometimes. So,
I'll tell you what I did to get my first clients, because it's a thing I still tell people to do today.
Okay.
And I still get clients this way today too. It's one of my ways that I get clients for my agency is join your local chamber of commerce. If you are not in your local chamber of commerce, you are leaving money on the table. You're leaving relationships on the table. You're leaving skill sets on the table. You're leaving all sorts of like potential opportunities. So what I did is, I think at that point, and this was in Iowa. I lived in Cedar Rapids, Iowa at this point. Okay. So not the booming metropolis. Okay. But whenever I started there, I think it was like $260 a year or something. So I joined, and then right away I was like, okay, can I do a training here? How can I get a training on the calendar? And I did an SEO training. 7 people, let's do it right. 7 people came to the training. Almost everyone in the room became a client that day. And that's what made me okay for that month.
Okay.
Train.
Excellent.
Train
So,
people.
And that's a great just lesson. A lot of times we don't ask for stuff. And, you made the effort to say, I want to do this. And many times that's the difference.
Yeah.
And people need to know, like, and trust you. So what better way than to spend some time and share some expertise with them?
Yeah.
So that's great way to start out. And everybody needs to be in at least one chamber. I think I'm in 3 right now.
I know, right?
Just for relationships and knowledge and learning and customers and potential customers. So excellent. So no, I really look forward to sort of dig into this, because you've had a lot of experience and a lot of success doing what we're going to talk about tonight. But before we go too far, I want to take a minute to share a little bit about Small Business Pro University, because this is one of our brain trust initiatives for helping entrepreneurs and business owners be more successful. So it'd be good to know a little bit about the other things that we're doing, and then I'll come back talking small business with Martha Krejci.
Yes.
All right.
Many small businesses experience low or no revenue growth, and the owners are not making enough money. I founded Small Business Pro University to help you break that cycle by empowering you with greater knowledge and enhanced skills to lead your organization more effectively. Over the past 15 years, I've collaborated with organizations like the Small Business Development Center, Rising Tide Capital, Empower the Village, NJMEP, Rutgers University, and SCORE to work one-on-one with over 1,000 business owners and teach tens of thousands of people about business. My experience includes serving as a naval officer, managing businesses, graduating from MIT, earning an MBA from NYU, and achieving the CFA designation, which has prepared me to accomplish my mission of helping 1 million and 8 business owners to sell more, maximize profit, and finance growth by 2028. My vision is to create the ultimate business ecosystem for entrepreneurs. Small Business Pro University empowers entrepreneurs like you to run their businesses more professionally and create sustainable enterprises. We employ my proven proprietary Masterpreneur Playbook framework to guide your journey along the Masterpreneur path and facilitate your Masterpreneur evolution to work on your business and scale faster and easier. Small Business Pro University provides access to valuable resources, partnerships, and relationships that will help you to sell more, maximize profit, and finance growth. Our Masterpreneur initiatives include the Small Business Pro Network, 100+ expert-led multimedia courses, intensive training workshops, Spanish language training, Leadership Live at 8:05 live stream and podcast, in-person Power Breakfast events, and advisory coaching, consulting, and training services.
Okay. Welcome back. I'm here with Martha talking small business. The topic tonight is sell more by asking questions, or by answering questions before they're asked.
Yeah.
So Martha, that's definitely something that you've learned how to do over a period of time. But just assume we don't know anything. And because a lot of times we don't know that much about sales and marketing, because that's not why a lot of people went into business, but that's their job now. What does it mean to answer people's questions before they're asked, and why is that so important?
Man, it's the golden question here. If we get this right, we win the game completely, just so you guys know. And we're going to get it right because I'm about to tell you. So to be able to answer somebody's question, well, Marketing 101, the gold nugget, the winning the day of Marketing 101 is to inject yourself into a conversation that is already going on in somebody's head, right? Like that's, it's kind of it's a no-brainer. People have heard it maybe hundreds of times or maybe just 5, I don't know. But whenever you hear it, you think, okay, logically, yes, that makes sense. However, people don't actually do it. And I don't think they actually understand what it means. And then understanding that it can mean different things at different times. I'm gonna make sense of that here in a second. So basically, whenever my students, if I send out an email or I do a social media post or something like that, my students will say things like, do you have a video camera in my house? Are you watching me? Are you reading my email again or whatever? Because whatever I've just said to them, they have been thinking to themselves already, right? So you know, a lot of times in marketing, you'll hear, so maybe you're thinking, so you might be thinking, and then whatever this thing is, right? If you can match that, and this is just a rudimentary concept here, but if you can match that sentence, the actual thing that they're thinking, and I could show you how to match it, but if you can match that and they see you match that, and then you give a response to it. So like, you know, in a video, in a blog post, in a talk like this, if you can give a good response to it, now they're going to feel seen and heard and understood more than anybody else. If you can match that multiple times, if you can match that conversation happening in their brain multiple times, I call it a Velcro effect. It's a little gross when I start out, but I'll explain it. The Velcro effect is basically whenever you match it once, you sort of have like, you know how the Velcro just comes together a little bit. It's just like the little hairs are stuck together and you're like, it could pull apart, it could whatever. It's not really that stuck. That's the gross part. But if you match that conversation going on in their head through time on different things, you now are hitting Velcro in like 4 or 5 different places, and they become stuck to you, right? And in this instance, it's like you're building your loyal following, because you don't just want buyers. Nobody really just wants buyers. They think they want money. They think that's what they want. But really what we want as business owners is we want brand loyalty. We want to serve someone so well that they not only keep coming back to us, but that they tell every single person that they know that needs us about us. And that whenever they're in a conversation, if you've got, excuse me, if you've got, you know, 4 people standing around at a chamber event, if you've got 4 people standing around, one of them is talking about needing your services, you want one of those other 3 people to mention you. You want that level of brand loyalty, okay? And to be able to have that, you have to be able to speak their language without them even realizing it, right? Like that is the level of answering questions before they're even asked. You need to know what questions they're asking. And so I'm going to go into something that's kind of like a deeper concept right now. It's going to help you to understand what these different questions could potentially be. I also have like some tools that do this for you as well. Thank God for AI, where I can just inject my brain into tools, which is really fun. But they're called awareness levels. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the awareness levels before. I think the best marketing book, it's actually right here. The best marketing book known to man is called Breakthrough Advertising by Eugene Schwartz. You probably don't need to buy it because I'm about to just give you the cliff notes on it. But it goes through awareness marketing. And so let's get into it. The levels of awareness are this. See, I'm getting to the edge of my seat. This is important. So the levels of awareness are this. The very first step, it goes up steps, and it is 5 steps. The very first step is completely unaware. That's an easy one, right? They have no idea that they need you. They have no idea that they even have a problem. They don't, it's just, they're wandering around the world and they're like, this is cool. You know, like they're just living their life, right? So that's completely unaware. The first step is problem aware. Okay. So that's where they're starting to realize that they're picking up some symptoms. Okay. So that sounds like a healthcare thing, but it's not. Everything has symptoms, right? So if your revenue is going down, that's symptomatic of a problem in your business, right? If you've got a rash, that's a symptom of something health related, right? Everything has a symptom. If your car is knocking, you've got a symptom of probably a very large problem with your car. I don't work on cars, but I hear knocking isn't good. So anyway, that's your symptom space. That's where people are like, they're before they were like, everything's great, you know? And then all of a sudden they're like, wait, everything isn't as great. I have this problem, or there are these symptoms happening. I'm starting to experience this thing, right? Now, what do people do whenever they start experiencing whatever symptoms, right? Like the knocking on their car, what do? They're either going to call the car people, whoever they are. What most people are going to do is actually not that first. What most people are going to do in the world that we live in today, ooh, nice, well done, getting the breakthrough advertising book. It's an expensive book, grab it anyway, it's totally worth it. But you're going to be like, why is this book so expensive? Because it's amazing. It's amazing. And it's short. Anyway, so basically, whenever they start realizing that there's a symptom, the first thing that they actually do in our day and age, here now, what they actually are going to do is they're going to start researching the symptom, right? They're going to start looking for like, okay, why would I be feeling this? A lot of times people type in exactly that into Google or now ChatGPT or whatever LLM they're writing it or they're typing into, but they're trying to find out what this symptom is. How do I find out more information about the symptom? What could it be? That's the stuff that they're starting to look for, okay? We're going to go through all 5 steps of awareness, and then I'm going to go back through and I'm going to say, here's what these people are thinking at these times, right? Like, here's how you can sort of inject yourself into your client and think, what are they thinking? Okay. I've got like a trick that you'll be able to use. Okay. We'll do that at the end. So there's the symptoms. Now, after they have researched the symptoms, they've exhausted that research, they become problem aware. Okay. So they'll realize, oh, the symptoms are this. The symptom is this thing. I realize that this is my problem, right? And so once they become problem aware, we're on our 3rd step. Once they become problem aware, they're still going to search. They're still going to research, right? But they're going to start researching the problem itself. So if it was, a rash, like say they have a rash, this feels so like uncouth to be talking about on a podcast. But if they have like a rash or something and they realize that the problem was maybe they have a gluten allergy, it was giving them a rash. I don't know. And they realized that it was a gluten thing, that they have celiacs or something. Now they realize that the problem is celiacs. So now they're going to start researching the problem. Okay. And everything around the problem, questions about that problem. Essentially what we need to realize is that we are our customers. We're exactly the same types of people, because I guarantee that you, as you're watching this right now, you're probably bobbing your head like, yeah, that's what I would do too. Yep. That's what I would do too. If you carry that mentality into your business and into your messaging, and how you talk to people, you are going to blow up, because you'll realize that it's not robotic language that needs to go out to people. It needs to be very human language that goes out to people. Well, that's what I would do. Okay, well, that's what I would do. That's the kind of stuff we should be sharing. So the third one, problem aware. They're researching the problem. Fourth step, vendor aware. So now they know what the problem is. They've been researching the problem. Now they're looking for who are they going to use to help them fix the problem, right? So if they're looking for a gluten-free coach or something like that, I don't know. Then they're saying, okay, well, which person am I going to work with? Okay. Just a little gold nugget here that we'll drop is that step 4 is where testimonials need to live. So whenever you're creating content and that sort of thing, I know, I felt eye rolls. I felt eye rolls when I said create content. Creating content is not for children. It is not for just the teenagers. It is not for just the kids. We have to create content around every one of these steps, because if we just stay with me here, if we create content where at step, 1 or 2, it's really 2, but if we're creating content right there, we catch them early in the conversation existing in their head as they're researching what this symptom is. And then you help them and you walk them along this journey. There's a psychological anchoring that happens. It would be cognitive dissonance for them to work with anybody else. That's true. If you have helped them through your content all the way up the stairs, they have to work with you. They're loyal to you. They want to work with you. They do not want to work with anybody else. It would have to be an act of God for them to work with anybody else. They only want to work with you. You brought them to the dance. Does that make sense? This is free marketing. This is the most powerful marketing. By the way, did I tell you that in our ramp up to 7 figures a month, we didn't run any ads? That's with no ad spend. All right.
Amazing.
Andrew, we're jumping in for a commercial.
Okay. No, just checking in with you real quick, but this is amazing. This is tremendous. I mean, I'm learning things here, so I'm taking some notes and all.
I love it.
And definitely, hearing things in a different way and some different things than a lot of people generally talk about, which is great.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal. When we get it right, we win. Things get very easy when you get this right.
Okay. And it's really about starting the relationship in the beginning before they're even ready to buy anything.
Your sales process is non-existent. By the time the sale comes, by the time they're buying from you, they've been sold over and over and over again through your service to them, through you actually helping them out. You don't have that same experience of like the twisting of the arm feeling or the overcoming objections and things like that. I'm not going to say they don't happen. There's still personality types that do object. It's their nature to object, and there's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of that dissipates by the time you get to the actual sale, because they trust you. They're like, okay, I'm ready to work with you. Let's go.
Okay. Excellent. So you mentioned cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
And I know that, and you know that, but not everybody knows what that means.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit more about what you meant by that? Because it is an important thing to understand.
Yeah. So cognitive dissonance is basically where your brain wants to do a certain thing and it does not want to. It's like it breaks your brain to make it have to do something else. That's really just what it is. And so it would have to be like a breaking of their brain. Their brain would literally have to break to not work with you, right? Like that's pretty much how it goes, is because they've developed such a loyalty to you and you've been helping them so much. And then you also have the law of reciprocity at play. So you've got all of these different things where somebody, like, they have to work with you, or else they just almost like it breaks their brain. I don't know another way to say that, but I feel like I need to look up the definition of cognitive dissonance right now. But yeah, that's it. And so, do you want me to keep moving on the steps?
Yeah, why don't we go through all those, and then we'll have a discussion around them.
I love it. So there was the vendor aware. So we got to vendor aware. So they know that now they're looking for, who am I going to work with? This is where testimonials come into play. And then here's the thing. So on our fifth step is super aware or hyper aware, whatever you want to call it. The aware. One person calls it aware. And I'm like, I don't like that. But super aware is the only place that urgency works. Most businesses run their sales on urgency. They say, well, you have to sign up by tonight, or you have to sign up by midnight, or, you've got 20% off today, or it's buy two, get one, or whatever it is. That's all urgency. Urgency only works for the fifth step people. The fifth step people, literally 2 to 3% of your audience, of your people that are that could be potentials, 2 to 3% are ready right now. And the fifth step is basically, okay, I know I'm going to work with you. I've gone through the vendor aware. I've looked at you versus other people, which we all go through that. I know I'm going to work with this person, but then, something else happened. They forgot to sign up, or whatever it is, but there's plenty of us that we'll see a Facebook ad or a LinkedIn ad or just a whatever. We'll see something that we mean to buy, and then we keep thinking, doggone it, I forgot to buy that thing. Or I didn't buy that thing. Or you see it on an ad again, and you're like, oh, I need to grab that. I keep needing to grab that. You're on the fifth step. So the only thing that gets somebody off the fifth step is their inner urgency of like, I need it right now. They realize they need it right now, and they need the result of it tomorrow. Or the outer urgency, which is you. Right? You saying, okay, if you get in by midnight, you're going to get X, Y, and Z as a bonus, or something like that. It only works for the people that are already sold on what you're doing. And so what businesses will see whenever they start doing that stuff is they'll see the very first time that they run a sale like that, they may get a number of sales and they feel like, that's awesome. That really worked well. It's only going to work that well once if you're not continuously bringing people up the stairs. Does that make sense? You're going to get to an exhaustion point, right? Promo exhaustion. There's many different ways to say it, but you're going to exhaust your people with your offers, because if they are not getting in, that's all that they're seeing. They're not wanting to jump in. You're not bringing your new people up. So while I'm talking about them going upstairs, a lot of you guys are thinking of them as coming down funnels, right? So the leads come in, and then they go through their different stages, and then they get honed in, and then they purchase, right? Well, the coming down of the funnel, if we want to look at it that way instead, I'm totally fine with that. But we need to understand that it's not, let's get them into the funnel and then let's talk to them right here. You've got to be educating them in the different spaces as they're coming down the funnel for the different things that they're thinking. So now let's just go back super quick. I'm going to go through these. I'm going to give you a quick, easy way to be able to determine what your people are thinking, all right, via Google, because Google knows what they're thinking. So the first one obviously the unaware, they're not thinking, like they're just kind of hanging out, just blissfully unaware of anything going on, right? Whenever they get into problem aware, that's the symptom stuff, right? And so what I would look up is whatever your business is, you're going to go to Google. Okay. I think it's the desktop one that does this. Let me just check. There's a desktop version and a mobile version, and one of them does this these days and one of them doesn't. So hang on just a second. Let me just check. I'm sorry, I don't mean to do this live. So yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay, no problem. Definitely.
Got
it?
Okay. Got it. Thank you. Thanks for saving me, man. So, okay, what you're going to do is you're going to go to Google and you're going to type in their symptoms they could have, right? What symptoms do people experience when they realize that before they realize they have the problem that you solve? Okay. So that's something that you need to go through. Again, I have tools for this and stuff, but if we're going to use our brains, we have to do this. So the problem that you solve, think of what are the symptoms before they realize. So like for gluten problems, right? There was the rash, right? There could be tummy discomfort. There could be different things that are symptoms. So just think of what those symptoms are. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go over to Google and you're just going to type in one of the symptoms. Type in a symptom, and I'm going to say, I'm going to say upset tummy. Okay. You do that in Google, and I know I'm not in screen share. I'm kind of pointing at my computer over here. This is on desktop. Mobile, it doesn't work this way anymore. But you can scroll down and it will say, people also, there's two things it'll say. People also ask, and then people also search for. The really great thing is people also ask, okay? It's the first one you're gonna come past. So I scroll down and I just put in upset tummy. That's all I put in. People also ask, how do you settle an upset stomach? Okay. This is the conversation going on in your person's head. Okay. You don't have to be some sort of like, rocket scientist here. They're literally typing into Google what they are looking for. Google is telling you what people are typing in. Now, bonus points, whenever you create content, like a blog post of literally that title. How do you settle an upset stomach? So as a gluten-free coach, if that's what you were, then you would say how to settle an upset stomach. At the bottom, I would say, a lot of my clients come to me with an upset stomach and they don't realize they actually have a gluten intolerance. At the end of that content, I would say, here's a checklist to see if maybe you have a gluten intolerance. And then that is your lead magnet. Okay. You may need to listen to this part over and over and over again.
Yeah, there's a lot packed into that. But that is amazing, because one of the hardest things people have is figuring out who needs the solution they have and how they can reach them. And that's an elegant way to do it.
It's literally using their words, right? And then you just do it with all of the steps. So you create content around, so there's the symptoms, go to Google, get your little people also ask on the problem, put the problem up there, gluten intolerance, go to people also ask. Now you might be like, Martha, I only see 4 responses on the people also ask. Well, let me tell you how you do that, how you make them more. if you click any of the drop downs next to the ones, only the ones that you're going to use, there will come some silly ones will come up and you're going to be like, I don't want to create content around that. Then don't, but also don't click the drop down. Because if you click the drop down, it will give you more of the same, more of like, right? So, so how do you settle an upset stomach? If I click the drop down, it gives me 2 more at the bottom of my little list, right?
Okay.
It's an unending list. Your content is unending. So like this is how you inject yourself into the conversation that they're asking Google at 2 a.m.
Okay.
So
Okay. So now that we have this information,
yeah.
We talk about now how do we employ it, and you talked a little bit about blogs.
Yeah.
What are some of the key ways to what do we do with it now that we have it?
Yeah. Well, for one day at least, you'll just sit there on your throne of glory with all of your information. That's what we do when we get all the good stuff. We're like, this is so good. And then we don't do anything with it. So you'll do that for a day probably. But then, yeah, the blog post, I strongly suggest YouTube videos. I strongly suggest that even if you think you're a goofball on video, just practice. Go on to Zoom, do a meeting with yourself, do some like video stuff where you don't have to practice in public, but like just so you can practice on video, actually just, do the cringe thing of watching it back again. And giving yourself pointers and really just trying to be good at something, right? So you just try to be good at it. But you don't even need to be perfect. If you hear me, I say a lot. I say I'm not like the best speaker in the world, but I get my point across. That's the whole thing. You don't need to be the best. You need to be somebody that your people can listen to and want to listen to. That's really it. And so doing that, so creating videos, the videos should be exactly what your blog posts are. So YouTube is owned by Alphabet, which owns Google, right? They're both search engines. That is your long haul. That is your, I still have people, pulling up videos from 2016, that I made about X, Y, and Z. That's how search works. It gets better over time. It's seasoned over time, right? Now, because of that, we don't want to only have a long haul content play like blogs and YouTube, which they're both long haul. We also want to have a here and now play, right? And so we want to direct people to that. And so what we do with that's where social media comes into play. And so you just pick 1 or 2 platforms. I say pick one when you're starting and let it be one that, well, first of all, your one platform should be where your people are. So if your people are B2B, LinkedIn makes a lot of sense, right? Makes more sense than Instagram or TikTok. But if you're B2C, well, now you're kind of more in the pool of Instagram, Facebook. You're more in that space, right? So where are your people? And if it's something that's like an Instagram or a Facebook, what I would do is I would actually start with the platform that you're already on and that you're already using, because it will already feel native to you whenever you do it, right? You'll act like a user of the platform instead of like this alien that just dropped in on this platform today. So what you do is you create content that points to your other content. And so how do you do that? Well, I'm glad you asked. You literally look at this question. What is the best medicine for an upset stomach? Make that a post. Make it a graphic if you want to. Just have that question on there. On the social media platforms, not LinkedIn, but on like Instagram and Facebook, the less polished, the better. They actually prefer things like instead of getting, professionally polished graphics that would say what is the best medicine for an upset stomach, what I would do instead is I would go to my notepad here and I would type in that question on my notepad, take a screenshot of my notepad, make it a square and make it a post. That's the sort of thing where people are like, wait, it feels native. It doesn't feel overbearing. It doesn't feel like I'm going to get sold something. The thing is our skeptic meters are up. They've been up for a long time. In the sort of like 2016 through 2018 space, there was still a lot of stuff that was cool, like where people were good. They could just kind of sell whatever. People were still buying like normal online. I guess it was probably 2020 was where this really happened. People became super, super skeptical because they'd been taken to the cleaners by people enough times that now they have a new behavior. And that new behavior is researching, being a skeptic. And if they feel like they're going to be sold something, even on the first step of the journey, they're out. So it has to be service, 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 help, help, help. And that's why I really believe that we need to serve in public and give lead magnets. Lead magnets is still serving. It's free. So you're serving in public and you're selling in private. Your selling should happen on email. 80% of my sales come from email. That's not front facing. You hardly ever see me sell anything front facing. Hardly ever, unless it's a launch. But yeah.
Okay. No, definitely. That's a great way to look at it. So now, you talked about the blogging, doing the blog, doing social media to take it to your content, and sort of where to focus in terms of social media. Are there other strategies you use as well, or is this really the formula that you utilize and that you recommend people utilize?
Yeah, this is the formula. The only other thing that I do is in stories. I do a lot of behind the scenes, and I will once a day, I'll have a sell for something in stories. So again, it's behind the scenes. You don't see it unless you're popping through my stories. But like yesterday, I shared so I have ADHD, but I don't medicate because I would like to feel my life. So anyway, but I take a supplement, which is just like makes me Einstein. And so yesterday in my stories, I was talking about, hey, ADHD entrepreneurs, if you feel like you have 30 tabs open, let me show you how you bring it down to one. And then you get to feel like Einstein in that one tab. And then it was just a little link to grab it's just an affiliate link to go grab the supplement that I use. And so that's that. I only do that once a day though in stories. The rest of my stories are like, me like talking to camera or what's going on with my baby. I have a 10-year-old and she's starting to make little videos for me that go in stories. So it's just behind the scenes stuff, but then I'll pop one thing in there a day.
Okay. Excellent. So, okay. No, that's amazing. So no really paid ads, no, and you've been able to grow significantly. So, and help other people, and that's excellent. Now, would you say this works better for certain industries or types of companies or types of services or products, or would you say just across the board, this is the best strategy?
I have yet to, and let me just, I need to back up real quick. I run ads now. I didn't as I was growing. I do now just to play around to see, because that's part of my testing process. But just so you know, I don't want people to be like, wait, I think I just saw an ad. Yeah, but just in the interest of full transparency there. I I have yet to come across a business, and I've worked with most businesses. I've yet to come across a business that this strategy doesn't work for. It just needs to be molded into, the business style and what they're looking for, what their people are, who their people are, what their people are looking for. And then it just needs to be molded into that. But yeah, it pretty much works for everybody.
Okay. Excellent. So it makes sense. You made it very simple, like, that it's like, oh, why didn't I think of
that? Yeah. I get it. I gotta say, I hear it all the time.
Right. But this has been great. I would love to really even dig into each one of those further with you, but we've only got an hour and time goes really fast, but this is really powerful, and people should, see it. You definitely did fully appreciate it. Seeing it multiple times. I'm sure I'm going to check it out a few times. But before we close out, it would be great to really break it down into 3 key takeaways, because a lot of times people can't remember more than 3 things at a time, anyways. But also, it just gives them something to focus on tomorrow. Yes. So that they can start, using it in an actionable way. So would love if you could take a minute to share the three key takeaways. And while you do that, I'm going to share a video about our upcoming conference and networking event. So we'll be back with Martha in a couple minutes. And here's a little bit about our upcoming Power Network and Power Conference. Join us for the Power Network event at Makerhoods in the Kruger Mansion in Newark, New Jersey on Thursday, July 24th. Meet with like-minded entrepreneurs in a relaxed environment to chat, connect, and collaborate. I'm Andrew Frazier. Please join me at our Power Network event, and I look forward to introducing you to our members and friends. To learn more and register, visit www.sbpro.com/power-network today. We're here at the Small Business Power Breakfast and Conference. I'm excited to say that we had a great day.
This event was a wow. Every panel, every speaker has had so much amazing content and good information to share.
This is a good day to put aside to come out and do some learning, but also make some great connections. The ones that I made were impactful.
Hi. I'm Andrew Frazier, masterpreneur and founder of the Small Business Pro University. For more than 10 years, our events have directly resulted in tens of millions of dollars in both revenue and financing for attendees. Join me at the Small Business Pro Power Conference on July 25th at NJ Pack's Nico Kitchen and Bar in Newark, New Jersey, to learn best practices, enjoy great networking, and gain useful knowledge. We will supercharge your day. I look forward to seeing you at the Small Business Pro Power Conference on July 25th in NJ Pack at Nico Kitchen and Bar in Newark, New Jersey. To learn more and register, visit www.sbpro.com/conference. All right. Welcome back. I'm here with Martha Krejci, and we're talking small business. Tonight, we've been really talking about selling more by answering questions before they're asked. And Martha shared a lot of valuable insights and a great model that we can utilize to do that more effectively. But before we let her go, she's going to share 3 things that we can take and start to implement immediately to really help us be able to market and understand and communicate with our customers better.
Perfect. Yes. So the first thing is, what are your symptoms for your business? So whenever you think of your people, I want you to write down, because this could be a part that you easily just gloss over and then you jump to problem, but most people are in the symptom phase. That's where your biggest part of your audience is. So what are the symptoms for their problem that you help them solve, right? So write that down. Then you're going to go to Google. Number 2, go to Google, type in the symptom, just a symptom. You don't have to get all fancy with it. Scroll down on a desktop. People also ask. Okay, so that's number 2. And then number 3 is one that we hadn't gone over yet. So I'm adding. Number 3 is, most people understand this at this point though. Number 3 is go to ChatGPT, type in that question, say I need a 500-word blog post written for this. If you already have a file saved for your voice, that's amazing. Pop it in there. If you already have your customer avatar broken down in like a TXT file, pop it in there. That's stuff that I do on a regular basis. And then it will write to your person as you, okay? And it'll write that article. Now, it doesn't end there. That's where most people goof up, is they'll copy and paste it right out of ChatGPT into whatever they're doing. ChatGPT is built to not sound human. Okay, so it's great for ideation. It's an ideation platform. That's what it's great for. So what you do is you take the content it gives you, and then you go over to Claude. It's CLAUDE.ai. That has almost, and there's a free version of both of those. That has a scary level of human sounding zhuzh to its content. It's wild. And so you'll take the content from ChatGPT, you'll pop it into Claude. I would still pop in my avatar and my voice just to do it, and say, rewrite this, please. And it will rewrite it as it should be. Copy it out of there and pop it into your blog. There you go.
All right. Well, definitely. So, first starting with the symptoms, I think that very few people do that. And I would say I haven't been a great person at doing that either. So I'm going to be working on that. But also, the Google, really using research and analysis. A lot of times everybody knows you're supposed to use data, but don't really know how to use data. And that really just makes it really simple, because the data is right there if you ask for it. And then, add in the AI piece, but, really understanding what ChatGPT is there for. I've never heard of Claude, but I'm going to check it out tonight.
Oh, you're going to be up all night, Andrew. I feel like you're like me. You're going to be up forever, man.
Yeah, I'll be checking it out. So, but that's good. I love to learn new stuff, and this has been great, though. Definitely appreciate you coming on. You shared a wealth of knowledge. Definitely encourage people to check this out. But not only check this out, connect with Martha. She's, as you can tell, she's very friendly. So I'm sure that she'll accept your note, and you can learn valuable stuff from her. So this is Martha's LinkedIn profile. And then we also have her website right here. So those are available in the chat. And, it's been great having you on. Anything you want to share before we close out?
I think the only thing is more of a mindset thing is, I know when you realize that there's this much available to you and that there's this much that you can do that is going to change the trajectory of your business, a lot of people will accidentally fall into the trap of I'm going to put that off until later. I'm going to put that off until later. And it's an upper limit issue, right? You're breaking through a ceiling for yourself because you realize you're about to change and you're about to get better, but you're about to change. Right. And so, don't let that happen. Just be mindful of, did I do the thing? Make it a checkbox. Say like, did I check the box today? And really hold yourself accountable to, did I go to Google? Did I do this thing? Did I do this thing? Instead of just letting it live in your head, not happening, you know?
Okay. Excellent. No, that's great points because, you just, knowing is half the battle, but you actually got to do it. So, definitely. So definitely thanks for sharing. Thanks for session. A lot of people are going to get a lot of valuable insights out of this. So if you can hang in there for a minute as I close out,
sure thing.
And we'll go from there. So once again, always appreciate everybody tuning in. Had a great discussion tonight with Martha. She shared some valuable things as far as sales and marketing. And, so hopefully you can benefit from them. I'm definitely going to be checking them out. I'll probably be up late tonight, as well as utilizing them as we go. So, entrepreneurship's a journey. It's about continuing to learn, continuing to move forward, and that's what this show's all about. Not only do I have great guests on the show, I get to learn from them and share things. Thanks again for tuning in. Always appreciate comments and participation. Each week we have great guests and great topics. So next week, you may want to join up with us. Next week, we're going to talk about powering your business to maximum momentum. And our guest next week is Chip Huggins, and we're going to really talk about how to accelerate your business. So hopefully you're able to join us then. And, definitely as we go through this journey, you always got to keep in mind that the more that you know, the faster and more successfully your business is going to grow.
Thank you for listening to Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbpro.u.com.